And now for the Woman of the Hour. Melanie Benson is a profit amplifier and has a gift for guiding fast-paced, mission-driven entrepreneurs to thrive in their small business. Melanie is a revenue strategist, uncovering what derails you from productivity and progress, ultimately freeing you to scale your influence and income without overwhelm. Thank God. Oh my goodness. Yes. Melanie is author of Rewired for Wealth, founder of MoneyDNA, co-author of Entrepreneur.com's Startup Guide to Starting an Information Marketing Business. I didn't know that. That's awesome, Melanie. Oh my gosh. And has her success tips featured in magazines such as American Express Open Forum, Bloomberg BusinessWeek, Women's Day, Parenting Magazine, and University of Phoenix Alumni Magazine. She is on the executive team for the Women Speakers Association, as well as is a member of the Association of Transformational Leaders. That's an awesome organization name, too. Melanie is a proud lifestyle enthusiast and spends her free time in search of the best spas and beaches in the world. Melanie, you ready to rock this?
Ready to rock it.
She's so ready to rock it. You are now live on Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self, Melanie. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your experience and wisdom and everything that you've learned with us in, the amount of time that we have. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Yeah, that's a tall order. Everything
right?
I've learned in 1 hour.
Give
and
it
we
off
get to celebrate your birthday. Woo, birthday.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. So we're going to dive right into the theme of the day, which every day is birthday. That's what it is. So how has this concept of every day being an opportunity to rebirth, to start over again, to choose a new reality in your career, in your personal life, relationships, how has it impacted you, and what does that mean for you?
Well, I mean, it means everything to me because it means every day we get to make a new choice, right? We get to make a new decision. We get to course correct and say, am I living the best life? And if not, what can I do differently today to get more of that experience? And it was actually one of the biggest reasons why I became an entrepreneur, because I wanted a lot more flexibility. I wanted freedom, and I wanted to be able to shape my own destiny. So I was going to get stuck in that corporate cog thing, and that was not my thing.
So how did you see that is a birth for you, like birthing the highest self of Melanie Benson into the world?
Well, for me, Chris, honestly, it's a constant rebirthing because I'm super creative. I am what I would consider an evolutionary. Like, I'm constantly evolving. It means I have to kind of rebirth my business all the time, which is slightly painful for me because I like to find something that works and keep doing it all the time. That's my natural state. And, really like embracing that change is constant, that we can't actually control anything that's happening in this life. And so if we become really good at adapting and allowing ourselves to continually rebirth, as you're calling it, as we allow ourselves to continue to create and evolve, what we get to do is shed anything that doesn't serve. And that's been a big part of my journey, is continuing to say yes to this, no to that. This I want more of, then not so much. So how do I become the person that magnetizes and pulls in this? And to me, that's the journey.
You have tremendous success, and you've been able to accomplish a lot of things that people dream of. What do you think it is about yourself and the rebirthing and creating yourself as who you want to be that has had you accelerate faster than most?
Yeah, I get asked this question a lot. And I think what really made the biggest difference is I made a decision to be the person that level of success was like automatic for. Because there's struggle, right? I want this, and that struggle, that gap between where we want to be over here and this huge windy journey and all these pitfalls and, the potholes and the challenges that feel like are in the way. And for many of us, it's like not even knowing how. Like, how do we pull something off we've never done before? And instead of letting the fear, the doubt, the not knowing how, the feeling maybe unresourceful or disconnected be what I would buy into. I had to become the person that was so committed to the outcome that I pulled it towards me. Like I could only have that. I don't know if you've ever had that experience where you wanted something so badly and it felt like nothing you did worked. And then that moment when it just shows up, and it's usually because everything around you shifted because you couldn't, it's like, that's the only thing that could exist.
Wow.
And that's being in that magnetized state where that is what happens for you. And so part of that is like knowing your mindset inside and out. Like, you know, instead of letting fears rule you, you recognize there's a fear, but then you get back to your truth and like, what's really the truth here? And I had to do that over and over and over again because, Chris, I was not born in this body with a lot of those kind of resources, right? Like I had to shed a lot of my fears and doubts and train my mind to perform at a whole new level.
Man, I love it. I love how you have a rock star right behind you.
Like
you're a freaking rock star, Melanie. Okay, so let's dive into what you're doing today and how you're supporting people for our audience. I shared your introduction, but we'd love to hear it from you firsthand as well.
Yeah, sure. And by the way, that rock star was a gift to me from a longtime friend. But I put it up to remind myself and everyone who I'm talking to on video these days that we are rock stars. Like, it's already inside of us. So yeah, what I'm doing these days is my big inspiration, my big calling is to help people get out of their own way and shatter the limits that they believe they have and outperform their greatest expectations of themselves. And what that means is I teach them how to create the mindset of a super high achiever. And whatever that means to you, right? Like that might mean something different to me than it is to you. And then how to create financial flow, consistent, predictable, ongoing financial flow, bigger than you probably ever thought you could by using tools you already have and tapping deeper into the superpower you were born with and shaping that in a way that, again, it feels effortless and more in flow. So we do that through a program called MoneyDNA 2.0, which is the money mindset of a high earner. And then I have different ways in which I work with people now where we have a mastermind group for awakening leadership in people. And I have a tool called Profit Explosion Toolkit. And everything is about how do I help somebody have the tools and new thinking to create new results? Because I think if you can have a tool and you don't have to figure it out on your own, then you're not struggling trying to do something you've never done before. Then it's just kind of, you got to cultivate the new habits, right? And kind of get your mindset in the right place so you make better decisions, so you take better actions. Right. And maybe I should explain a little bit the connection between our mindset and our habits. Would that?
Yes, please.
Yeah. And so you may have heard this before, that our habits are a direct link to our thinking, like our belief systems, and our habits are what shape our results. And this kind of ties into how I actually started creating my own big successes. Was I didn't have results. I had a lot of frustration and struggle. And so I knew I was talented, but I couldn't figure out why nothing was working. And I started to learn from other mentors that if you don't like the results, you got to look at the fruit, right? So the fruit is the result. The root is what causes that. And in us, that's your belief systems. And I realized I had all these beliefs about not being good enough, not wanting to do certain things because that was icky, or like, I don't think I like marketing. I don't want to put pressure on people, right? Like they had all this limitation in my mind every day. And it shaped what I was willing to do and not do. And so when I cleared the decks and I did what I call recoding, what happened was like I was willing to do things that before I would rationalize that were not a good thing for me. I didn't feel in alignment with. And all of a sudden I'm like, yeah, of course I'm going to do that. And it wasn't like I was doing anything out of alignment. It's just I had talked myself out of doing the very things that needed to be done. Wow. And I see this with my clients all the time where we like limit what we will say yes to. Like how many people, Chris, have you ever talked to and you invited to the show and they're like, I don't want to do video. Like, I don't really like myself on video, right? Like, or I don't know, what would I talk about? Yep. And maybe you don't hit that as much as I do, but believe it or not, I've had people say, no, I don't want to be on a video show because I don't like how I look on video. Like,
ridiculous.
Get over it. You're so talented.
Right?
These are the things that belief, shaping habits,
Mm.
causing us not to take action that would actually propel us forward.
Wow, that's amazing. So we're diving into some juiciness, and before we go too deep, which I love going deep, before we go even deeper, let's go back to your journey, how you got to where we are today.
Okay.
What were some of the challenges that shaped your perspective, the things that you had to grow through, and the wisdom that you gained because of those obstacles or things put in your way to grow through?
Sure. Well, I think my biggest obstacle, so I've had several. And by the way, I've been in business 18 years, which means I've got to experience new obstacles every time I grew to a new level.
Yep.
And I think that's one of the realities we have to face is that, we conquer a new mountain, there's a new vista, a new scene, and oh my God, then there's new things to conquer. And I think at the beginning, what really was huge for me is I had no idea how to express to anyone else what I did in a way that would make them say yes. So I had all this talent and I would meet with people, but I couldn't quite articulate it in a way that was enticing. So they're like, oh, okay, that's nice, glaze over. But when I started getting out of my way and I started to get the right tools in place, I learned that I needed to have a messaging system that compelled people to want more. So it wasn't about coaching. It was about, I get people more money in their business. That's a very different experience for someone. Wow. So the biggest hurdle I ever had to get over was, first of all, believing in myself, having the confidence and the courage to go for something I'd never done before. And then secondly, was being willing to learn to language things in a whole new way. And as a coach, I had a lot of resistance to that because nobody in coaching training taught you had to learn how to message a certain way. They just said you had to be really good at what you did. So I think those were two of the big ones. And then the third obstacle that showed up for me was, how do I take something I learned to do one-on-one and then I want to be able to make more money? Because, Chris, maybe you've run into this before. In the beginning, I was taught to charge $350 a month and meet with a client 3 times a month for an hour. That was the model.
Oh, man.
And I'm doing the math and I'm thinking, how do I get past 6 figures with this model? Like, this is not going to happen because that's working way too much. Right. And so I had to kind of blow up my paradigm and say, what's the paradigm that will get those results? And I think being willing to shift how I mentor and guide people so it was more scalable was my third big personal obstacle. And I got one more. You want me to go one deeper?
Let's go. One more.
It was learning to let go so I could grow. And I hit a point where I was working 100 hours a week again, 80 hours a week again. I'm not having time to, go see my cute little niece and spend the afternoon with her when she calls and goes, Auntie, I have crazy socks on. Do you want to come over? Right? Like, it's like I wanted to be able to say yes. And I couldn't because I had this trap that I had built for myself. And I realized that if I wanted to grow bigger than just me and I wanted to serve more people, I was going to have to figure out how to not just leverage my knowledge, but leverage my time. Yeah. And that put me back into, it's time to let go. It's time to bring people on who can help get more done. And that looked like, at first it was getting an assistant to take a lot of the techie stuff off my plate. And then I started hiring other coaches to work underneath me. And that was the trajectory. And then it was 6 figures, 6 figures, 6 figures over and over and over again until 2009 when the market changed dramatically. And that created a whole new level of learning for me. But
what happened? What happened? Tell us.
I was going to leave with the cliffhanger. Yeah. So one thing that I realized, and this is something I teach in every program now, is you have to really know what success means to you. And there was a part of me, I wanted to be a 7-figure business owner. So reaching that pinnacle was very exciting, but I did it in a way that was not keeping my own success pillars in place. I sacrificed what my value system was to serve the people around me. I was serving my coaching team. I was serving my business partner. I was serving my client base who was hungry for more. And like, I literally, I couldn't stop the flood. Like, it was a high class problem, but there was way more people that wanted coaching than my personal bandwidth and my team's bandwidth could handle. And we were growing so fast that we actually didn't have strong enough foundation in place. So when the market turned and there was a lot of credit cards that got frozen, do you remember that in 2009? All of a sudden, we had people that couldn't and wouldn't pay their bills. We had people who were missing payments for months, and my team didn't catch it. So we started to kind of topple. And it made me realize, like, I didn't really like the way the business had grown. I liked the money, but I didn't like who I had to become to stay grounded. Like, I wasn't grounded anymore. I certainly wasn't graceful. And I was stressed out, and I was like, what did I do? Like, I created this business that was big, but it wasn't me. So again, I got to pivot. I got to reinvent. I got to rebirth. Quite painful and quite humbling and quite powerful, because now I have a business that I do love, I love the work we're doing even more. And I didn't design it for my partner. I didn't design it for my coaches. I didn't design it because, a client said. I designed it because it's what needed to come out and what needed to be in place to lead people to a place they know they want to go, but hadn't been brave enough to go yet. And I wouldn't have been brave enough to pivot my brand if I hadn't gone through all that.
Wow. You just built up that resilience and self-image, knowing that you can get through anything. And each thing you grew through, you're like, well, I got through that, so I can get through this. Got through that, so I can get through this. Got through those, so I can get through this.
Yeah. And it wasn't actually that graceful, just to be like, it was a lot of sad days. And here's the power of your community. I had spent 12 years up to that point, 10 years up to that point, building a really rock solid community of people. And I was disappearing from them, and they're like, where are you? What's happening? They kind of came and propped me up and said, pull it together. Yeah. You're bigger than this. Yeah. And actually what happened is I learned a whole new level of mindset and resilience, because they held a space for me that I couldn't see. Like, they saw in me what I couldn't see at that moment when I had taken that failure so hard. And it helped me reignite my passion and my motivation again. So, I always tell people, you need a support system, whether it's your coach, it's a mastermind, it's a community like you're building here. But you need a place to go when you fail, to remind you that your failure is not who you are. It is an experience, and you are bigger than that. And you can use it to learn and rebirth if you choose.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I love it. So getting into the MoneyDNA side of things, like how did that evolve? How did we get into that program?
Yeah. So actually, I didn't really teach mindset at that level until I went through that, what I call my meltdown phase, and my rebirthing phase is probably a better way to say it. Right. And, because I started to bring myself back up, and I pivoted, and I kind of put some tools together that had helped me, what I call recode my mindset, so I could thrive again. Now, one of the things that was going on underneath this, Chris, and I don't even know if we talked about this, is I had an undiagnosed autoimmune issue that was surfacing. And actually I had mold toxicity that I didn't know about in my body. And so it was actually kind of playing against me at the time. So it's really hard to expand when your body's really ill and you're thinking it's just you. But what came out of all that is I did rise above the physical piece, and I was doing these little mini money breakthroughs with people, and they were getting more money coming in less time than they ever had before. Not because we were doing marketing, but because I was kind of rewiring the way their brain was working. And a friend of mine said, why aren't you teaching that? I'm like, I don't know, because I'm not. I don't want to be a mindset person. And they're like, but you are. You're the best mindset person I know. Even in the midst of everything you dealt with, your mindset always rebounded back super quick. And that's when I realized that most of my clients who struggled weren't struggling because they didn't know what to do. They struggled because they wouldn't do what they knew to do. And that was the clicker. I'm like, yeah, if I taught mindset before they ever worked with me in my advanced, my leadership programs and, the authority building programs, then they would actually get faster results. And that's when MoneyDNA was born. And it's changed a little bit over the years because, again, we continue to evolve and we're like, oh, this needs to be in it, right? But the essence of it was simply because by me rewiring my thinking, my belief structures, and upgrading my mindset as each phase of my business evolved, I could conquer any challenge and I could achieve things that most people, like you said earlier, just dream about. And then I had to prove it on my clients because obviously I'm not the best case study, right? Because I'm me right. And I have my own tools and I know who I am. But if you can apply it to a client and different clients over and over and over again, it works. Then you have a formula that is scalable. Yes. And that's where it came from.
I love it. This is gold. So I'm sure everyone listening right now is like, Melanie, what are the techniques? What do we need to know to repattern, recode our mindset? Yeah. We want it.
Yeah. So I think the first piece, in all honesty, it is a customizable approach. One of the things I love about the way we teach MoneyDNA is you figure out how to customize the steps to you because everyone is unique and different. Totally. And at the root of it, and every single person has a set of barriers and you have to know what those barriers are and how they're showing up for you. Because, one person may have a barrier that's fear, but it looks different from another person's fear. So I like to call it our logic mind disguised as fear. It's one of the 3 barriers. And if your logic mind is in charge, you will actually think it's a rational thing to not do the thing you're scared of. And so we have to know what is it that's the barrier. And that's when we start the recoding process. And recoding basically means you recognize what the barrier is. And I use NeuroLinguistic Programming, which I'm sure you're familiar with. And I use it to teach your mind how to fire a new neurological path between what you get stuck on and the result you want, so that you're not in a habit of self-sabotage or I feel fear, I stop. It's I feel fear. Okay, I notice the fear. Now, what is fear trying to teach me? And is this because I'm out of alignment, or is this actually just my logic mind trying to derail me and keep me safe? So we have to learn the right patterns instead of the limiting patterns that most of us learn as we're growing up. So it's recode, repattern with those new behaviors. And then we figure out what's the business you really want. See, if we try to figure out the business you want with the limitations running, you'll go, yeah, I'm good with a couple grand a month. And that feels totally enough. And maybe it is. And I don't want to discount anybody that truly is enough. But when I unleash people, what I've discovered, Chris, is it's usually bigger than that. There's usually something bold that you wanted to be and you've wanted to fully express. Maybe you've always wanted to write that book, but you don't, because you tell yourself, I don't know, will anybody listen to me? Do they want to read my book? Probably not. Okay, I'm not going to write the book. Or, I want to share this message. Who's going to book me to speak, right? I don't know. I don't really want to get on the road. We rationalize the things that we're afraid of or that we have this limited belief about. So that's what gets me so lit up and so excited. As a matter of fact, I'm going to speak tomorrow on this. And I watch the audience just totally they have those light bulb flashes and you can see all of a sudden they're thinking in a whole new way. And they come up to me and they're like, oh my God, now I know I'm stuck. Now I know what to do differently. That's what it's about. Changing the way you think so you can create new results.
So beautiful. So I got that we first need to understand the barriers that are in our way. And one of those is the logic mind, right?
Logic mind disguised as fear.
Disguised as fear. Can you tell us the other ones, or are those in the course?
Sure, yeah. And if you want, I have this free quiz that we can share with people if everybody wants that. But so logic mind disguised as fear. The second one is, I call it the internal conflict. And that is, I want this, but I'm afraid I'm going to lose that. And I don't know how to have both. So what we do is we get paralyzed and we freeze up. Perfect example of this is there's a woman who I was working with a few years back, and she came to me because she did see me speak somewhere. And the big trigger was okay, I want to grow my business, but I have a family. How do I grow my business and have time for my children and my partner? And in her mind, it was so stuck because she was trying to solve a problem
right.
with the level of thinking the problem was created.
Right.
And so I'm like, well, what if it's not this or that? What if you can have more success and all the time you want with your children? She's like, you can do that. I'm like, uh-huh. I said, what paradigm could that be possible in? And so then we started to dig into it, and all of a sudden, she didn't need me to tell her what to do. She needed to think about it differently. And the answer was revealed to her, how to grow her business and not sacrifice something that was important. So that's what happens with conflicts is we literally buy in and believe that we can't have two things, so we don't. And that's and I don't feel like we should have to give up on our dream. Now, it may look different, right?
Yeah. What might be some other scenarios that people are thinking this or that?
The conflict.
Yeah.
Here's a big one. I can have more money, or I can have my time freedom. Okay.
Wow.
So I worked with clients. They're like, nah, I don't want to grow my business any bigger. Like, I don't want to have a trap of a job anymore. I'm like, well, where was the success book that said you must give up all your time to have more money? Like, who's teaching you that? And, it was a paradigm that she learned from her parents. And she just, because we do what we know. Okay. We do what we're programmed for. And if you're programmed, I have to work harder to make more money. Of course, that's what you're going to do. But it's not the only way to get there. And what if you knew, like, the most amazing possibility was that you could actually work half as much and make twice as more? See, me even just saying that, now your mind has to go, well, how could I do that? Right? Like, it's like, if that's possible, then what's my path? And it gets you curious. And you start to go on this adventure called, how do I make that happen? By the way, that's how I created my first six figures. I wanted to win that game. How do I make six figures and work less? That was the game I started for myself. And so we went looking for the ways to make that real. Instead of, I am stuck here and I can't afford what I need, so now I can't move on. And that's another conflict, by the way.
Wow.
Actually, it's a limitation. I'll share that one in a minute. I can come up with a gazillion of these. Do you want me to tell you the third sneaky barrier?
Yes, and real quick, I love how you said the game part. How do I make it like the game is, how do I make six figures and work less? So it's like everything that we do, every action that we take, we can look at it through that filter. It's like, okay, I'm getting closer to six figures maybe through this action. Am I working less? Or this is a good action. But it seems like it's going to take up a lot of time. How do I make it also, give it to someone else, or so that I work less? How do I automate it? How do I whatever? And I love that game. That is awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah. And by the way, the minute you make it a game, it's not stressful, and your mind loves games. We love being creative, and like our brain was designed to be resourceful. Yeah. It's only our own story we make up that makes us less resourceful or blocked.
I love it. I'm curious about the game thing because I grew up with video games, and I do want to get to this third barrier because it's going to be amazing. And the belief that I had was video games took up time, and they took away from me producing results in reality. I have been integrating that, and now I know that the more I approach things with fun and games, the more I succeed, because I am inherently a lover of all things fun, and if it's not fun, it's not going to work for me.
Me too, by the way.
Right. And so one of the things that I'm grappling with is relationships. If I make relationships a game and life a game, how do we distinguish the severity or seriousness and making it a game? Do you have any insight on that?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. So, I think we all relate to words differently. And so we have to connect into what our value is. You value fun. And so maybe part of it is we have to change the word in certain situations for our brain to lock into the right approach. So maybe it's more about an adventure. Because I think going on an adventure with your partner, your intimate partner, is one of the most magical things you can do when you're, and by the way, we can talk about relationship in any context. When you are building a team, especially if you have high level people who support you, that's an adventure you're on together, right? Like, okay, we don't really always know how we're going to get there, but we're committed to doing it together. Wow. And I also think that, again, maybe somewhere in the rule book of childhood, we adapt certain beliefs based on what we see demonstrated. So if a relationship felt like a lot of work, or we were told that relationships are hard work, or we're told that, or we see like our parents fighting all the time, maybe we thread that through and think, okay, well, it's going to be hard. Or I don't want to devalue my partner and playing games. Okay, hold on, I'm getting something here. So maybe it's how you play a game. Because I think, especially in the video game world, it oftentimes feels like video games isolate you. So how can we play the game to integrate with people rather than isolate from people? And are you playing a solo game? Are you on your solitaire? Or are you in an integrated game where we have to dance with the other people in order to play the game better?
Ooh. Wow. That's juicy.
So just possibilities, right?
Juicy. I love it. This is great. Awesome. So I resonated with the adventure, the adventure as the main point, and then how can we make it more game-like? How can we grow together? How can we, have like power-ups and stuff that supercharge our relationship? We go get a massage together, or we go to a, sporting event together, or we go out to dinner. That's like a supercharge to our relationship, our intimacy, our connection, or even sharing our goals or journaling together, or whatever it might be. So I love that. That's awesome.
Great. I love that. I love that you're taking into the relationship side, because I also think that our relationships and success are very intertwined. And if we're in relationships that are draining us and or depleting our life force, it's very hard to be powered up unless you can disconnect emotionally, which I can't. So, it's very intertwined. And I think they're very good support systems for each other when you have good compatible relationships in your life.
Yeah, 100%. This is awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Melanie. Let's go on to barrier numero tres.
Okay, barrier number 3. Good job threading that back through. So the third barrier, and we've already kind of touched on a little bit, is what I call limitation stories. And it's where you have built up this story that you can only have what you have right now. And or you can't see other realms of possibility because the story you're in right now is so real to you. It's the only thing that can exist. And so I like to think of stories like this. It's whatever you have in your life right now that you talk about and you give a rationalization for it. That's your story. And it's your story because you go to great lengths to convince yourself and others that it's there and it can't move, or there's a really good reason why it is what it is. And I see people do this all the time with feeling broke. It's like, so what if you did this? What if you did that? No, I can't do that. That won't work. I'm not capable, right? Like come up all the reasons why it can't work. And so here's what I like about stories. And I learned this really early on, but it didn't make any sense to me until about 5 years ago. And I learned this from a man named Rick Tamlin. And he used to say, and I'd seen him speak at some events I used to host, and he would say, it's all made up. So if you're going to make it up, why don't you make up what you want instead of what you don't want? And I was like, that's weird. Like, it didn't make any sense to me for the longest time. Like, I'm not making anything up. And yes, I was. Yes, we are. We have made up a story that keeps us exactly where we are because this is what feels normal to us. This is what feels real. This is what we feel is congruent with our expectations and our beliefs. And so if we want something better for ourselves, let's take relationships that you're talking about. Because by the way, this is all translatable to any area of our life. What's our story we've made up? What's the story we make up about our relationship? What's the story we make up about our money picture? It's a story we make up about our role in business. That is what you create. Now, you may have started to tell a new story, which high five, good job. That's good story one. And it might take a little bit of time to catch up. So don't give up. It's not like instant, like you pull the string forward and all the machinery goes with it right away. Like you have to integrate all these pieces, and you have to let your habits and your actions and your strategies catch up with the new story.
Also, I would say that using neurolinguistic programming is one of the fastest ways to change. And yes, there is some catch-up time too, but that's like one of the most instant change methodologies and technologies available in the marketplace. Just saying.
I'm 100% with you. As a matter of fact, I use it in all of my work. Yeah. And it's why I was able to create a better me, is because I used NLP, or I had someone do it to me, but I use NLP to rewire the way I was thinking. And thanks for bringing that back up. Yeah. So, and I'm not saying it has to take a long time either. I'm just saying if you're trying these new things and you don't see it happening right away, it's not,
patience.
Don't give up. It's just, okay, what have I not tweaked yet? There's maybe a piece lingering that's still plugged into that old story. Yeah. So, just be aware of the stories you tell other people. Those are signs that that's the story you're holding true for yourself. And so I'll give people an assignment in my classes, and I can share it here just to give somebody actionable.
Yes, let's go.
You guys want an instant action thing? I got to tell you, this is very profound. Only do it if you totally want to completely radically shift your results as fast as you can. Okay. So if you kind of committed to the slow path, don't do this. Write the story you want to be true as if it already exists. And then every day for 21 days, you read that story as if it already exists. And then I want you to check in. Who do I need to be today for that story to be true? What's the new belief? What's the new habit? And what's the action? What's the strategic action I need to take? You cannot stay the same if you do this exercise. I promise you it is life-changing. And it may seem really, really simple, but actually what you're doing is you're teaching your mind how to upgrade into that new outcome.
Wow. So, okay.
Because it's becoming real.
This is awesome. Awesome. Okay. So your new reality as you want it to be, is there any recommended length of time, far away, 6 months, 12 months, 5 years? Like what?
I think you've got to make it at least 30 days. 90 days seems optimal with my clients. We tend to work in 90-day increments, but I've seen it work as fast as 2 weeks. Okay. And the other thing is, don't try to conquer 70 things in one shift, right? Like pick the linchpin, pick the big one. Right. And move that needle forward. And you might see these smaller chunks starting to come real. So if we're working on money, you might see, oh, okay, so I got a new client. Oh, okay, so that was an extra 5,000 this month. Awesome. Okay, so look at that new opportunity. I just got invited to speak. Or, hey, this person wants to promote my stuff, right? Like we start to see the snowball and the evidence starting to come through. And that's what I call the flow gets activated. So there's a flow between here and there.
What is there any reason why someone wouldn't do this every day for the rest of their life? Obviously updating their story every time they achieved whatever it is that they wanted.
I think if you're really, really, really happy with struggle, and by the way, some people, that's their gig. Like they're really committed to their struggle.
Oh man.
There are people that are very hooked in. Our stories feed our ego. Okay. Our stories, they give us something. Yeah. And so some people are very committed to and addicted to the tension and the anxiety. And so I know that's really probably not where anybody wants to stay, but believe it or not, I've actually had people take my program and they are more committed to their problem than they are the solution. And it's never going to work for you.
Okay. Some more questions to really flesh out this technique, because I'm totally going to
bring it on.
Totally going to do it. How long should it be so that it's not like overwhelmingly complicated or detailed, and how short should
you mean
it
the
be?
Story?
Yeah.
So I think there's not one way to do this, but I would say you need to write the story to the degree that you feel it when you write it. It's real to you. So writing a story, I have more money and I'm happy. little weak, right? Like, okay, do you really feel that? But maybe the story is more like, it's now September 1st, 2018, or whatever year you're listening to this. And I feel this abundance of wealth. I've got 10 new checks in that are totaling $10,000 or more. I'm taking my spouse out to dinner tonight. We're going to the Gladstones, whatever that is in your area, and celebrating with a nice bottle of wine. And then we're going to go have massages. And I just feel so peaceful knowing that this is actually happening every month, like clockwork. I'm so grateful that I did the mindset work that allowed me to be a money magnet at this level. Right? Okay, I'm making this up, but you just wasn't that a more feeling?
Yes.
More like I felt that in my heart, like I wanted that.
Yeah.
Versus I make more money and I'm happy. Okay, like if you're not feeling it, it's not deep enough on the story. So you want to make the story real. You want to make it as if it already exists. And you want to make it things that are personal to you. So you noticed I said Gladstones and we got a nice bottle of wine and then we went and got massages. Like that's what we do in my household when, we want to celebrate our prosperity. Is these are meaningful things to us. Or maybe we'll go to Italy. So maybe another version of your story is we've just booked our trip to Italy to celebrate our anniversary this year, right? Like pick the things that have meaning and value to you.
So amazing.
Does that help?
Yes, 100%. 100%.
Okay, good.
I
can't wait to read your new story, Chris.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you about it in 2 weeks.
Yes, I'm Monterey, Your Authority Blueprint live. By the way, if anybody's watching this live or replay, and if you listen to this podcast, it's probably, we've already done the event. And so come ask Melanie and I how you can get tickets to next year's event. And, it's going to be a lot of fun. Your Authority Blueprint live. Michael Neely's putting it on in Monterey. It's going to be, what is it, the 25th, I think, through the 20th.
Starts 24th in... 24th? That Wednesday, whatever.
Yeah.
26th, yes.
Yeah. So it's going to be a lot of fun. If you want to come, let me or Melanie know. We can get you in and get you the hookup. But it's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll definitely be talking there. And Melanie's going to be speaking and sharing her gold and wisdom. So excited to meet up there, Melanie. And this is gold. I love this exercise. And is there anything else that we need to know while we're here on this podcast, this interview, about shifting our money DNA, or really understanding that and stepping into our true power as creators?
Yeah, so let's talk about habits a little bit more. Habits are slippery, right?
Yeah.
It's like we kind of create these automatic ways of being. So what you do repeatedly defines your outcomes. And again, we go back to, are my beliefs matching the outcomes? The middle piece is the habits, the things we habitually do. And what I think falls apart for people is they're not building habits that are aligned with their outcomes. They may shift the beliefs and they may have this new story and they're conquering those barriers that are in the way. But now it's like what I do every day is still part of the old programming. So we got to look at things. How do we start our day? You mentioned earlier, I host my own podcast as well. One of my most popular episodes was on how to have a morning routine that sets you up for productivity. I was blown away that was one of the most popular episodes. I think it's awesome because how we start our day determines how we end our day, meaning how much we actually accomplish. So you need to fuel yourself. And that's part of conditioning yourself for greatness. Means you're actually starting your day in a way that is giving you the right vibration, the right fuel, the right mindset. So I have people that are kind of sad and they're struggling with stuff and they're stressed out all the time. And I say, well, how do you go to work? Or how do you start your day? Listening to the news. And I just kind of run out the door with my donut. And I'm like, cancel that one right now. We got to start with some different fuel. And that in itself can be a miracle. So I was working with this lady and she's a consultant. She hadn't booked enough work for months. And I could tell she was depressed. And she was my age. So I knew, our bodies are changing and, hormones and all that stuff. And so I asked her how she started her day. And it was kind of like what I just described. And so I put her on a morning ritual. So she had to do some kind of exercise and eat power food instead of what she was doing. The sugar was actually the biggest struggle, but she got out every morning and went rowing, changed her morning fuel. Within a month, she had booked more business than she had booked in years.
Wow.
I wasn't teaching her how to market. She just was motivated differently. You see, like when we become the person that can operate at a higher level, we make better decisions. So, and I also think, and Chris, I know you know this, like you live this, and I love this about you as I've been getting to know you, is who we surround ourselves with is also our fuel.
Yes.
So if you're finding that you're in these conversations and you're kind of arguing about silly stuff, or you're debating politics, or you're just like your people are questioning why you're going to work instead of going to the bar or whatever, right? Like you're in the wrong conversations. And there's something about being in conversations with people that inspire you to be a better you that will radically change your trajectory. You cannot thrive and accelerate when you got one foot on the gas and one foot that is like you're actually in park with one of those like tire boots, because the people around you are trying to hold you hostage where you are right now. And it's a big part of when I do the MoneyDNA recoding is people have to figure out how they're going to inject those inspiring, like leveling up conversation regularly, whether it's your coach or your community or whatever, right?
Yeah. And that's so true, because one of the reasons why I started this show is probably about, 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, I had my first interview on Skype with someone, right? And I was like, wow, this conversation is amazing. And before that, I thought to myself, before I even had that conversation, I was having conversations with people, and I said, why am I not recording this? Why is this not being shared with people? This is gold. This is so interesting and valuable, and people are sharing their stories. And then, 2 years later or whatever, I start the podcast in the show. So for anyone out there listening, I highly recommend, if you don't feel like you're surrounded by people who you want to be like, start creating a show. Like, create a show. If you want to get your message out, if you want to be that influencer and surround yourself with amazing people, find ways to add value to them, which for us is, we have this platform, we have this show that we're able to bring to people and say, hey, come on my show. You can share your message. It'll be fun. It'll be valuable. And the audience will find out about you, which I know a lot of people, we just want our message to be heard. We just want all the experience that we've gone through, the suffering, the pain to get to where we are today, and seeing this new perspective that we're so excited and proud of, to share that with people so that they can have access to it too, because we know what it's like to be unconscious to that perspective. We know what it's like we wish someone would have given us this, or been able to explain it, or we would have been able to receive it back then. So I 100% agree.
Yeah, well said.
Thank you. Awesome. So in terms of being a profit amplifier, what does that mean?
Well, one of my very unique superpowers is that I can meet with somebody and I can, when we're talking and I'm doing my digging in and kind of gathering my clues, I can find out where their fastest opportunity to increase prosperity is. So for some clients, it's like I can reorganize their focus and realize very quickly they're chasing bright, shiny objects and they're going in all the wrong directions and they're leaving behind this gold mine of revenue. So, I worked with a client once who somebody was teaching her how to do online products. And I'm like, this is not your market. And it was taking up so much of her time. And we just shifted her focus back to her highest moneymaker. She increased her revenue by $200,000 in that year.
Wow.
$200,000 just by changing your focus. And sometimes it's, I don't know how to package what's inside of me. And I'm undercharging drastically and I'm chasing my tail and working so hard to try to make ends meet. And it's like, then you need a raise. One of the clients I'm working with right now, she's given herself a raise 3 times since we started working together in January.
Nice.
And her clients keep going, oh, okay, this is your rate. Okay, great. Like no one's turning her away.
Wow.
So people are usually undercharging way too much. And sometimes you just need permission and someone to kind of reflect back to you, yes, you can charge more for this.
Yeah.
And so, I can pretty much find it in any situation and then help them amplify it.
Wow. What's one of your passion projects or causes that either you don't share about as often or you haven't mentioned yet, maybe some people don't know about, or, just that you're working on?
Oh, well, I have plenty of those. This year we started something that was truly magical. It inspired me to my core and beyond. It's called the Own Your Bold Challenge. We'll be doing it again in the fall. And I'll tell you why. It's because I think there are so many people who are blocked from truly getting the greatest potential out there in the world because they're not taking bold action. They're playing it safe. And it was a free challenge. So I wanted to gift it to people. I wanted to get people powered up and in action. Nice. And it was so amazing to see what happened when people just said, okay, I'm going to follow this process and I'm going to get out of my own way. I'm super passionate about doing that again in the fall. I'm super excited because it went off the rails. It grew so fast. But mostly because people just were like posting in the group every day, these huge wins. And I'm like, yeah, that's what we want.
That's right.
I'm also really, I love collaborating with people. And you may have heard, I have a collaboration with Michael Neely. I'm a wine lover and we're doing the wine podcast together. So, having opportunities to play the game of creativity with others is super interesting to me, but it has to feel aligned. I'm at the point in my career now where I don't want to just do something because I can. I want to do it because it's going to make a difference. It's going to make my life better and my family's life better, or it's just pure fun.
So juicy. I love it. It. Awesome, Melanie. So we're beginning to wrap up now. And what are the final takeaways or final parting wisdom that we want to give to our listener right now?
I think going back to what I said in the beginning about choices, choose the outcome you want, choose the reality you want to live in, figure out what's in the way, take the quiz, the Success Barrier quiz, find out what's in the way, but commit, fully commit. See, there's a huge difference between being interested in something and being committed. When you're interested, you do what is comfortable. You do just enough to feel like you're getting momentum, and then you'll pull back. When you're committed, you're all in. You are fired up, and you will not take any excuse. You will not take any reason. You will not allow anything to derail you. It may look different, and you may have to take some different paths than you thought, but you don't get stuck on how, and you don't let anything get in your way. I'm looking for committed people, not so much the interested people, because you're not really going to step up.
Wow. So, Melanie, you're super freaking awesome. And for everyone listening, you can go get this quiz that they can find out about what their barriers are. That's melaniesquiz.com, right?
Yep.
So that's MELANIESQUIZ.com. And they can also visit your website, melaniebenson.com, correct?
Yep.
All right,
Totally.
and that's MELANIEBENSON.com. And Melanie, is there anything else that you wanted to share with our listeners or how they can stay connected with you?
Well, I love connecting with people in my Facebook group, if that's okay to share with everybody, amplifiersuccesscommunity.com. We're getting ready to do some fun challenges in the group and share some exclusive trainings there. So awesome group of influencers and experts. And again, I'm all about the tribe, all about surrounding myself with amazing people. And I love finding out what people are doing and then supporting you and figuring out how to help you expand that success, how you want to grow. So love to connect with you there as well.
Juicy. Awesome. Melanie, you are a superstar. Thank you so much for coming on today. I'm excited to see you in 2 weeks and rock the house. Right. It's going to be a lot of fun, and keep up the amazing creation that you are doing and putting out into the world. It is phenomenal, and you rock.
Thank you. You do too. Thanks for having me on the show.
Thanks, Melanie. I'll see you soon.